The best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear. Hey Jared, what was your favorite musical number from Elf Bowling the Movie, The Great North Pole Elf Strike?
Can we just... None of them. Can we just get this over with? Can we just...
Okay.
Just roll the episode. Just roll it.
How drab, how dull critique can be. It's begging and pleading for apathy. The good, the bad, the in-between. And nothing is everyone's cup of tea. No time to waste, there's things to do. But Jared and Eric are happy too. They'll suffer the worst of films for you. So enter the strangest of banquet rooms.
Happy December, everyone!
Happy December! Happy holidays! Because as we all know, Christmas is under attack. And
yes,
they say that we're not allowed to say that anymore. I don't know.
And of course, this is also, when we're releasing this, it's not Christmas. It's...
When we're releasing this or when we're recording this? Because we're recording this on November 4th.
Yeah.
Nothing makes me feel more in the Christmas spirit than November 4th.
Exactly. No, I'm the same way. Right around November 4th, this is what my advent calendar leads to.
This is what your advent calendar leads to. So your advent calendar ends on November 4th. What do you do after November 4th?
Just wallow in my own sadness.
I mean, that's what I do all throughout the year.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is a...
Luckily, I have Guy Fawkes Day to fall back on.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
That's why, November 4th. Anywho, we have a movie to watch.
We have a festive movie to watch.
We do. And I want to, say, just even going into this, not knowing what it is, I think that Elf Bowling the Movie, The Great North Pole Elf Strike, is something that should get a Golden Turkey Award. Do you remember the Golden Turkey Award?
I remember the I think I have the book in my bookshelf somewhere.
Yeah. Remember? And so this is this award for bad movies, and just on the basis of turkey not only being something that people eat at Christmas, but also being a bowling term. This should be the #1 Golden Turkey Award winning film.
Is that the joke that you told me about before we started recording that you thought would bomb?
Yes, it is.
That you thought would specifically be a bomb with our listeners?
Yeah.
Now, is it a bomb or is it the bomb? I can't tell the difference. I think it's a good joke. I didn't get the bowling pun, but...
It's a turkey is when you get 3 strikes in a row.
Okay. And a turkey is also something that you eat during the Christmas season.
Yes.
Or holiday season, or Merry December season.
Yeah.
And now we're just explaining your joke, which only ever makes jokes funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, if we're talking about bowling puns, right? I looked at the title of this movie. I saw the first half. I saw Elf Bowling the Movie, which just sounds marvelous. And I saw the second half, The Great North Pole Elf Strike. And it wasn't until now that I connected those two.
It's a pun in the title. That's the thing.
Does that mean that I do get to see Santa's elves go on strike? Because that's what I want.
Yeah, I think that they're going on strike.
Yes.
Yeah, they just want money to spare.
Stop. Your bowling puns are taking a full second and a half to connect with me.
Yeah.
And there's Am I gonna have
I'm
to?
sorry. When we go into puns, you know, that's my lane.
No, I got that one. No.
It's just right up my alley. But yeah, back to this movie.
Yeah. So you found this movie. What was it, like 3 hours ago?
No. I'd found it before. It was on a list that I'd found of bad CGI animations. We both love those.
Oh, I love those.
We love those. We loved Food Fight. It just seems like it's not quite there, but like it seems close. I also remembered that there was like a video game called Elf Bowling that I feel like this is based on because they specified that it's the movie.
So you think that this is based on the video game, and the video game isn't based on the movie? I mean, you're right. It is Elf Bowling the movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because like I remember distinctly there being like, I don't know if it was like on Miniclip or something, but there was a game where you would bowl and you would knock down elves, and if you missed, the elves will, like, if you just like got a gutter ball, they would like go like gutter ball, and then they would moon you. They would turn around and the elves would moon you, and it was like, as a kid in the early 2000s, that was the peak of comedy.
What the shit? This is a prank, right? You're pranking me. That's not a real video game that exists.
I don't, like, again, this is like online, like I think on Miniclip. That's where I wanted to say that it was. It is not a real video game when it's like that, but it's like, or it was a Windows game. I don't know. It might have been one of those like default ones that you could like get in the Windows store. Either way, I remember playing it.
My facial expression cannot translate, unfortunately, to an auditory medium. But I want our listeners to know that my face right now is one of absolute shock and confusion.
Yeah, that's about it.
There's a part of me that wants to Google this game to find out if you're lying to me, because I still kind of think that you're making this up. But there's another part of me that wants to know absolutely nothing about Elf Bowling the movie, The Great North Pole Elf Strike, before walking into it.
Yeah, because you're the one who always says, research.
I'm pausing deliberately to make sure that awkward silence comes through.
Good. I think we don't have anything else to say, though, because I want to leave a lot of room for us to talk about this one. I think I'm excited for it.
Sorry, just to talk about this one, I was expecting another bowling pun. You made a dramatic pause there, and so I thought that you were going to say, I want to leave a lot of room to.
No, Jared.
What? I can't do puns like you can.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
There it is! Okay, I just needed that one more bowling pun in my life. Okay, so spoilers for the 2006 film Elf Bowling the Movie, The Great North Pole Elf Strike follow this musical interlude. Enjoy!
Remain on the edge of your seat in a moment. Your hosts will return with the fruits of their suffering. Every last thought that is currently buffering too. The time has arrived, their opinions will now debut.
Eric?
Mm-hmm?
What in the Christmas Kringle did I just watch?
Well, it was I think either a kid's movie. It was either a kid's movie.
That is a matter of debate.
Yeah. It was either a kid's movie featuring elves at the North Pole dealing with a pirate Santa Claus, or it was a movie for adults featuring maybe just everything an adult would hate in a movie.
Usually when we watch movies like these, we ask the question, who is this movie for? And the conclusion we come to is like, well, it's for us. Like,
Yes.
there's a movie like 9 Lives.
Yeah.
The film in which disgraced sexual predator Kevin Spacey gets turned into a cat. That's
Before he was disgraced and while he was a sexual predator, to be clear.
Yes. That's a movie that is also not for children and not for adults, but 100% for us.
Yeah. This is not for children, not for adults, and not for us.
I don't... This was...
Okay, first, we need to talk about, because we watched this on YouTube.
Yeah.
This
it's
is
all
fully up on
available on
YouTube.
YouTube. You can go watch it. Maybe
My concern is that it's pirated. Because why were there pirates in this movie? Why did we open on a pirate ship?
I see that you're keeping up with the theme of puns from part 1, and I appreciate that. I like the consistency between the two parts.
Yeah. I find, so let's just go a little into this. So this is, I still think a video game adaptation.
It is. I did Google it. It is a video, but it's not just like a Flash game online. This was for DS. This was for Game Boy Advance. This
Wow.
This was an actual real game. I mean, it could have been like a shovelware type game, but it was like a game. It was a game that happened on game systems, on video game systems that children probably played and probably went to like
I played it.
You played it?
I remember this game. I remember playing this game.
I genuinely thought you were pranking me, and I still kind of do.
No,
But
I remember playing this game, Elf Bowling, where the elves would like sneer at you if you missed. They'd make fun of you. They would moon you or whatever. And I was like,
why is
okay,
there
if that's what we're getting
mooning?
into. I don't know. But this is the thing. So they took that basic video game and they were like, okay, what do we need here? We need pirates. We need musical numbers. We need random sexual jokes. Racism. Check.
Why do these movies always have to have racism?
Because that's why we watch them.
Is it, Eric?
Because we're looking for badness. But yeah, this has a lot of those bad qualities that we kind of look for. Like, first of all, production value.
Okay.
Not as bad
Yeah.
animation as I was expecting.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. The animation, it was like still cheap, but like it's a cheap CGI movie done in 2007 that looks better than most of the cheap animated films done last year. And I think that there's something impressive in that. The individual models had like an interesting kind of textured quality to them that looked kind of like claymation or like toys that gave it like it was clearly like a way of getting around the low budget, but it looked not bad. Like, it looked like it was a bunch of little toy characters running around and in places, and I kind of liked that.
I'll go with you. I did think it was funny that they mentioned that like, oh, you elves with your pointy ears. They did not animate pointy ears on the elves.
Yeah, let's also qualify that and say the animation didn't suck, but it was also not great.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, you're like, okay, it's passable if the story was fine. It kind of looked like Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It kind of looked like
Jimmy Neutron. Kind of
Neutron.
animation, like a slightly lower budget Jimmy Neutron. Like, that's kind of what they were going for. Maybe
it felt like there was both like a like slightly more of an attempt to make it more like stylized than Jimmy Neutron, and also a lot less care, if that makes sense. Like, you watch Jimmy Neutron. I haven't seen Jimmy Neutron in a long time. You watch Jimmy Neutron, though, and you get the sense that, like, the people working on it kind of, at least a little bit, care about what they're making.
Yeah. No, and I think that this is one that, like, part of what I found interesting about this was that in certain parts of it, it felt like there was actually care being put into it.
Really? Which parts were those?
Like, I wouldn't say the musical numbers were strong, but I feel like there was somebody who was actually putting effort into them. Not that they came out well, but that somebody was like, I'm going to put a bit of effort into making these musical numbers. Like, it wasn't just like, I'm going to write a script that then we just put, like, music over it, which I've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
There was, of course, and we can't go much further without talking about the song about slavery.
Yeah, there was that one 45-second song that was titled "Slavery Makes the World Go Round," and it's exactly as bad as it sounds, and also that's probably worse.
Yeah, that's not something that I would qualify as low effort. That's something I would just call as somebody really missing the mark.
I would go further than missing the mark. I would say that's like how is it that nobody at any stage in this production looked at the 45-second long song about slavery that could have been cut out entirely without disrupting the pacing of the movie at all?
Yeah.
And at no point in the production, at no point in the editing, did somebody say, hey, can we just remove that? Just like...
And in the animating, they animated it. Like, it takes a lot of effort to animate something. But I know, like, I say miss the mark because I think they were going for that, like, villain song. You know, like that, oh yeah, like, I'm going to destroy the world kind of song. Like, oh, this is an obviously bad guy singing about something that's obviously bad.
Yeah.
But you don't need that song in there, first of all. Second of all, you're not meant to make it catchy.
Are you saying that song was catchy?
No. I don't think it was catchy, but they were going for catchy. That's the thing. I think they were really like, oh yeah, this is the track that's gonna go up the charts. Slavery Makes the World Go Round. #1 on Billboard.
Did they have iTunes in 2006? I don't remember. I think they did. Yeah.
They must have.
That sounds right. That sounds like, yeah. Yeah, because the iPod was around since, like, so yeah, it would have topped iTunes charts.
Yeah.
If there were anything for that song to top.
I thought you were going to say, if there were no taste in the world, if everybody in the world suddenly lost their taste, or only one person had an iPod, and that person was the person who composed Slavery Makes the World Go Round, that is the world in which it would top the iTunes charts, yes. Let's also just, like, we keep alluding to the fact that there were pirates, and...
Do you want to give, like, a quick, like, a very brief summary of what actually happened in this movie?
Yeah, so, Santa's a pirate.
Well, I think... No, hang on. We have to start back further than that. Because it starts off with one of those, like, that are in every single Christmas movie ever. The hook being, so you think you know how Santa Claus became Father Christmas? Well, think again. And that little voiceover, that was my impression of the voiceover. I hope you liked it. That little voiceover opens the film, And it kind of frames the whole thing. And it asks a question that the film spends all of its... No, just the first 15 minutes of its runtime resolving. And then after about minute 16, it goes...
They fast forward to the present.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, the present when this film came out in 2007.
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
To do a plot summary, we need to just... I'm going to go to the weird bits, I think.
Okay.
So, Santa starts as a pirate named Whitebeard.
No, you're getting it wrong again. Whitebeard was the name that the elves inscribed to their godlike figure.
Sorry, yes. He happens to have a white beard, and he goes around stealing toys. And he goes and his brother and him have this fight. Mm-hmm. And his brother, like, challenges him to a duel or something. They fall off the boat, and they get frozen fighting in ice. Somehow end up at the North Pole, where the elves have been laboring over toys for generations, and they thaw out Santa and his brother with this magical orb. If you're following along, I hope that I'm not spoiling the movie for you. I just realized, okay, we're about minute 5 here. We're about minute 5. If you want to go watch this movie, I don't recommend it.
No. We already gave the spoiler warning. There's going to be no spoiler-free section because we only do that for movies that we think are worth it for you to watch.
Yeah, I'm just saying this is like minute 5. So you're free to go. And we've already had a musical number that I didn't talk about, and somebody already pooped in the peanut barrel. And the elves have this whole factory set up, and Santa's like, oh, cool, I can exploit this. And, he decides to, say, oh, I only have to work one night a year? Cool. They give him all his magical sleigh and his bag and all his reindeer and everything, and he goes, and boom. That's how Santa became Santa. Of course, he signed a contract with the elves, who formed a union or something. And the contract was basically the elves have to have fun.
The elves have to be happy, or
they have to be always merry.
I wrote down the specific wording. Only a happy elf is contractually obligated to make toys.
Yes. Yeah. That's, of course, the summary of the union movement of the 20th century. Only a happy elf can be compelled to make toys. That's, if you're looking to, write a paper on labor action, I'd suggest using this movie as a reference.
I would suggest not doing that.
The elves go on strike.
I mean, okay, do you want to pause and ask the question, what actually is this film's political views on labor rights?
No, we'll get to that.
Okay.
We'll get to that after the summary. We want people to be able to form their own opinions. But yeah, no, one of the things that cheer the elves up more than anything is elf bowling.
Okay, but you missed the part where it took 1,400 years of hard work for Santa to build a bowling alley in the elf spot, whatever, the workshop,
in the North Pole.
In the North Pole. And Santa initially gave them bowling pins to use, but these
masochistic little elves.
No, I do actually like the way that they incorporated the premise of the video game that it's based on. Because the elves celebrate their new bowling alley, and then, the camera kind of, pans away to, a wide shot or something, and you just hear Santa go, oh, fine, you can use yourselves as the pins.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be clear, the elves aren't use us as the pins. They're like, use us as the pins, use us as the pins. They're like,
What is the difference between those two?
Oh. What is oh yeah, I get a kick out of being a pin.
Yeah,
the other ones.
The first one sounds sexual.
I was going for masochistic, but you do you.
Is there... Yeah, okay.
Finish that sentence, Jared.
For some elves,
finish that sentence.
For some elves, there is no difference between the two.
50 Shades of Red and Green. This movie then continues where they flash forward to the present after Santa's become this worldwide phenomenon, and his brother decides he's jealous.
His brother is named Dingle Kringle.
Dingle Kringle. Mm-hmm. And of course, Santa is not named Kris Kringle; he's just Santa Kringle.
No, it was a much longer name than that. I didn't
Santa Maria.
No,
a reference, of course, to Christopher Columbus's ship.
Was it actually Santa Maria?
Yeah, it was Santa Maria.
Jeez. So it was like Captain Santa Maria Claus Kringle or something like that. It was really long. I think there may have been a couple names that I'm missing.
That Columbus's ship was referenced while we talk about its political beliefs. That's about, we're about 20 minutes in.
the movie that has the song Slavery Makes the World Go Round.
Yeah. But Dingle Kringle decides, he walks into Santa's workshop and with no leverage whatsoever says, I'm going to take over Christmas if I win at elf bowling. And you know what Santa says? I accept that challenge. And I just love that this is a world where that could happen. Like, I want to go up to Justin Trudeau. just like go to Ottawa, just find him and say, I challenge you to elf bowling. Bring out my DS and say, winner gets Prime Minister.
I'm actually going to put this challenge to Justin Trudeau. Justin, if you are listening, I challenge you to a game of elf bowling. You bring the DSs. Whoever wins after a single round, because that's how they did it in the movie, just one round. Whoever wins after a single round of elf bowling on the Nintendo DS gets Canada. All of Canada.
All of Canada. Yeah.
What's in it for you? Canada.
Yeah. I love that this is a part of that can happen. Like, this is a thing that can happen. Somebody could just come in and be like, I'm taking over Christmas, and Santa's like, yeah, you'll see about that. Dingle has no leverage here. Dingle has no leverage whatsoever, but he cheats, of course.
He does, to be fair, win the bowling game by cheating, but he does win by cheating.
And I wanted to point out that in 2 times, like, throughout the movie, Dingle does these things, and the elves are like, oh, no, Dingle won, or, oh, no, Santa hates us, when it's like, okay, you just have this guy hanging around who's obviously evil. My first thought is going to be, hey, Santa wrote that note that says elves suck. I'm going to probably suspect the evil guy first.
It was elves stink, Eric?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, Dingle wins a bowling game. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter because they find out that he cheated and he doesn't. The win doesn't go through. He doesn't get Christmas.
Yeah, but then Dingle continues. He does some sabotage of the factory. He pins it on an elf. The elf gets sent out on an ice floe to die. Then Santa goes and tries to find the elf. He is then trapped out there.
Yeah, Santa goes out on the ice floe to find the elf, only to find that it was a penguin in disguise as the elf.
Yeah.
And then Santa gets trapped out on the ice floe and turns once again into an icicle. I felt the need to elaborate on that a little bit. You can continue.
Yeah, he turns into an icicle. Dingle takes over Christmas. He moves all the elves to Fiji for some reason.
I don't know.
Yeah. And he meets this woman on a plane, who's when he talks about, he's like voice memoing his memoirs, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna take over Christmas, and then she literally gets money signs just pop out of her head, and she's like, wow, that must be profitable. And then, so Santa's wife, Mrs. Claus, goes to find him on the ice floe. And this is probably my favorite part of the whole movie. How Mrs. Claus comes, rescues her husband, like kisses through an icicle, and their love melts the ice. Then she tells Santa, "Hey, your brother's in Fiji. Let's go fight him." After Santa's like, "Oh well, he can have Christmas. I don't care anymore." She's like, "No, you have to go fight him." And then she says, "Let's go together." And Santa says, No. I have to go. It's between me and my brother." Takes the sleigh and leaves his wife to rot on the ice floe. And she's just waving like, "Okay, bye." But don't worry, because she shows up later in a taxi. She gets from an ice floe to Fiji in a taxi to have a fight with Dingle's wife,
Veronica.
Like just like a big fight. After Santa has been fighting Dingle, the elf who has the magic orb discovers that the magic was him the whole time. I cried at that part. So Dingle makes his whole factory, and his big plan is he's going to, and this is the real evil part, deliver all of the Christmas presents to all of the kids in the world. But he's going to leave a bill.
No!
So they'll feel compelled to pay him. I would love the version of this movie where he just delivers the presents with the bills and nobody pays him, and Santa's just like, "Haha, you did Christmas. Sucks to be you. Thanks for helping me out this year, Dingle." And Dingle's like, "Ah, damn it, why did I do that?" Like, but that's basically the plot in a nutshell, because there was like just so much time wasted in this movie. Not like overlong scenes or anything, just things that didn't matter, like just throughout.
I mean,
nothing mattered.
If we're using the same framework that we approached Child Bride through.
Okay.
And I say that with hesitancy because it means that we would have to drop our episode on Child Bride before this one. Which means
we already have, yes.
We've definitely done that. We're not recording this episode on November 4th or anything. If we approach...
the last episode, continue.
The last episode, Child Bride. I'm so sorry. Can't believe I still have to think about that movie. Because the way that we approached that was it told us what it wanted to do from the very first moment, and we assessed it's succeeding on its own terms based on that. And this film kind of did the same thing. It told us in the very first moment, this is going to reveal the true history behind how Santa Claus became Father Christmas. And by doing that within the first 16 minutes, it made everything else that happened from that moment on tangential to the point of the film. Is the argument that I'm putting forward. I invite you to disagree.
I get that plot-wise, it succeeded in that term. But I feel like the other terms that it set out were to be funny, to be, I think, a kids movie with like that kind of like kids movie with some jokes for the adults.
But before we get into the debate over whether or not it's a kids movie, I do want to clarify myself. I'm not saying that it succeeds on its own terms because I don't think that it does. What I'm saying is that you say that there are moments in the film that feel tangential to the point. I'm saying that about a full hour and a bit of this film is tangential to the point, because the point that it lays out at the beginning is The True History of Santa Claus. This is a film that wants to retell the history of Santa Claus, where Santa is a pirate at the start. And it does that. And it does that quite efficiently within 16 minutes, and everything beyond that is a waste of my time.
Yeah, but there's tangential, and then there's we go to Fiji. Where we meet the Italian chief in Fiji. There's a guy on Fiji where they're like, welcome to a Fiji. And you're like, why are you Italian?
I don't like this movie.
No,
do we need to,
no,
do we need
this is like, I would say that this is like genuinely a flum. Like, there's I think we came into it and we enjoyed it like to a certain amount of like, I can make fun of this movie, but I think that there is definitely a way to look at this, and after those first 16 minutes you're like, why am I wasting my time with this? All of this is horrible. I think there is a way to watch this and just feel like just in anguish for so much of it.
Just gross inside. I think that it approaches Flum. I
think a big part of this though is I also don't think that there's any political stance that this movie aligns with that somebody would be like, oh yeah, that's my politics.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think that they successfully alienate just about everyone.
Yeah. I think that's the best take on the film's politics.
I think you can't be maybe pro-union and then maybe pro-slavery and be able to, able to please anyone.
I don't think that this film was... I think that if you could sit this down... I think that if you could personify this film, sit it down and ask it, are you pro-slavery or not? The film itself would tell you no. I think the film
itself would respond with arm farts.
No, but I can't. You've touched on so many things that I want to talk about, and then we've had to skip past them. The arm farts. Is this a movie for children? The race problems of this movie. But is this a film that thinks it is pro-slavery? This is not a film that thinks it is pro-slavery. It gives the pro-slavery song to the clear, cartoonish, mustache-twirling villain character.
Yes.
It is a musical number that should not have been in this film. It does not belong in any movie. It does not belong anywhere. Is it a pro-slavery stance that the movie is taking? No, it is not. Two things can be true at the same time. It can be a song that does not belong in this movie, while also being a song that in the text of the song is not pro-slavery. Or in the context of where it is in the film, it is not pro-slavery, but it is also very much not a song that anybody should have passed the initial pitch stage where you stare at the intern that suggested it and went and just go, what are you doing here? Go back to your Proud Boys or whatever it is that they had in 2006.
MySpace. Go back to your MySpace boards.
Your MySpace white supremacist boards?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I don't know if there's a whole lot more. There's a lot more we could talk about. I don't think there's anything more that we have to talk about.
I want to name drop a few things. I want to just drop into this episode
Let's just drop in more reasons not to watch this movie.
Yeah, the gag where they smash cut to the elf in charge of rapping, and it was one of 3 black elves who just rapped, like the music, like rap.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if that was the only joke at that character's expense about that character being black, I would be like, okay, they were just going for the rapping pun, and they didn't want to have a white rapper. I'll let that slide, maybe. But when they rebuild the whole elf factory in 1 second, and he's like, "Oh man, we need that in Detroit," you're like, okay, so this movie's racist.
Yeah.
This movie's not gonna treat that black character well.
No.
Nobody here has ever met a black person.
Nobody had ever met a woman either. A woman?
Nope.
I was also a big fan of the joke where Santa meets his love interest, who cooks strudel, and
magic strudel.
And his brother reminds Santa to keep that hot strudel in your pants. See, like there, I'm hesitant to call this movie a flum because there are certain jokes that don't work so hard that they kind of circle back around and become funny.
Well, like there are some of those, but they're scattered in between painful tangents. Like, that's the thing that, like, if you're just sitting down, imagine watching this as a child.
I can imagine watching this as a child, actually. I can imagine, like, not, like, loving the video game, but, like, being, like, playing it often enough, and then, like, walking into a movie store around, like, maybe not November 4th, but, like, November 29th, and, you know, seeing this DVD on the shelf, going, oh, I recognize that game. I want to know what they do with the movie. And then bringing it home and watching the movie, not fully understanding why, as a 6-year-old, I feel sad afterwards.
Yeah. And then ejecting the disc, starting a small fire.
Eric, what were you doing as a child?
Hey, I was in the scouting movement. Fires were my middle name.
That's true. Okay.
And so were you. That's where we first met.
That's where we first met, when I joined Cub Scouts for all of 5 minutes, and then we did not connect then, and then reconnected in our undergrad.
10 years later,
more than 10 years later.
No, not well more.
Like
Scouts
15.
Scouts are like 8 or 9.
Yeah. We met when we were what, like 21?
18?
18?
19?
19?
Well, you're older than me.
I'm like a year older than you, yeah.
Yeah. But first year and, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not well over 10 years. It's close to 10 years.
I guess. I think I'm just used to having to conceptualize my childhood as like 20 years ago now because I'm old.
Sure. You're old. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of old, if you still use Twitter, you should follow us.
No. Speaking of old, if you still use Facebook, we're on Facebook.
We're on Facebook, yes.
We're on Facebook. We're Banquet at the Flum Dumpster on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Flum Dumpster. I'm on Twitter at Jared Aronoff. We briefly considered opening up a LinkedIn. If you want us to join LinkedIn, tweet at us. If we get more than 5 tweets asking us to join LinkedIn, we will unironically join LinkedIn and post to LinkedIn
all of our episodes there.
Yeah.
Including this one.
Yeah, I think that's a good incentive for people to interact with us on social media.
And if we get 10 tweets about it, we'll get Tarquin to join LinkedIn.
No, don't drag Tarquin into this. Hi there, this is just Jared from the future coming in to confirm I have reached out to Tarquin, and she has told me that she will unironically join LinkedIn, but requires a slightly higher number of tweets tagging at Flum Dumpster and also at Tark Alexandra. Her number was 1,000. That sounds reasonable, right? I believe in you all. I believe in you all. You can do it. Make Tarquin join LinkedIn, please.
But you should, in the meantime, follow Tarquin on Twitter and Instagram at Tark Alexandra.
That is TARQ Alexandra. You can also listen to her most recent EP, A Tyrant's Demise, on Spotify, Apple, or your music listening platform of choice.
Including LinkedIn.
Only if we get 15 tweets about it or more.
Make it happen, people. LinkedIn is the future. Yeah, I think, oh, and of course, if you want to follow me, you can find me stalking Justin Trudeau, challenging him to an elf bowling match, because I want to be Prime Minister of Canada.
I'm actually really looking forward to our totally ironic LinkedIn page.
Yeah.
Where we just post business advice. What do people even do on LinkedIn? We're going to find out. We're going to find out.
I have a LinkedIn account.
More of you tweet about this.
Yeah. I think that people use LinkedIn when they're looking for jobs or looking for people to get jobs, and that's it. Like, they're just, like, that should be the only use for LinkedIn. If you use LinkedIn for anything else, please tweet at us so we can make fun of you. In the meantime, hope you boat to Fiji.
No, to Fiji!
If the concept were to exist that I'm to explain, which it doesn't, in hypothetical terms, every form of art has a bucket, a container to categorize the format and style, the greats and the rotten. The podcast that you've just consumed did the work for you by scraping the bottom